everybody. Happy Monday and welcome back to the Fumble Live. We have a lot of news to get into today. There was a lot that went down over the weekend, so make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Don't forget to tap the bell for notifications. Do us a favor, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share it with your friends. Here's the Fumble Squad. We are down one member today. Britt's having some internet issues, so me and Jackie are taking it away for you, and yes, we are matching again.
Didn't even plan it.
I know. You guys, I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
I think it's funny that we're both in black today, Jackie. We must be feeling the dark vibes, a little bit moody
I
or
think
something.
so.
How was your weekend? I'd love to hear about it before we dive into the news.
It was good. I watched the boxing match over the weekend, as well as some UFC. Also, I've obviously watched a whole bunch of football, one thing kind of bothered me about the Kansas City Chiefs Broncos game, but we're going to talk about it in post-up, so I'm not going to tell you too much about it. But I thought it was hilarious, but I was like, okay, that's weird. But yeah, we'll talk about it in post-up.
Okay, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I had a good weekend as well. I worked through most of it, but still enjoyed it. It was fun. Now let's get into another person who enjoyed their weekend, James Harden. Okay, so we have to preface this story by talking about Russell Westbrook. So Russ actually showed up 3 hours early to his first practice with the Wizards. He is ready to show that he's committed. He's excited. That deal went through after he missed, he didn't report to training camp, and the Rockets and Wizards just kind of quickly finalized a deal that sent John Wall over to Houston. And now James Harden seems to be trying to pull the same kind of stunt. So he missed the team's practice on Sunday due to a violation of their COVID-19 protocols. Over the weekend, James Harden did what he does best. He stopped by a strip club, so he was putting himself obviously at risk for contracting coronavirus. We have a clip of him at the club here. So Leo, can you roll that first clip for us? All right. Yep, he's there. He's getting it on, doing his James Harden thing. We know how much he loves a strip club, but he knew what he was doing when he was there. He knew that he wasn't supposed to be in that kind of setting because it would put his teammates at risk if he did show up to practice. But that's not all that he did. He also went to Lil Baby's birthday party, which was in Vegas, and this is just worth noting. He gifted Lil Baby a Prada bag, $100,000 in cash, and a $200,000 luxury watch, which had me thinking it really pays to be James Harden's friend, and it also pays to dance for James Harden. So if you can find a way to get into his inner circle, I think you're going to be doing pretty well. But we have a video of that moment right here. So Leo, can you throw up that second video for us?
Come on. I like getting that paper. Hey, nobody move with me. Nobody move with the man with the gun. Hey, you a real nigga.
Going through all the gifts. No social distancing going on, obviously, there. So all of these different festivities that he participated in over the weekend prevented him from being able to show up to the team's practice, and he knew that that would happen. The team's new head coach, Stephen Silas, said that he wants James to participate. He said, quote, "I want him here, and I want him to be a big part of what we're doing." But when asked about James Harden's commitment to the team, Stephen avoided answering it and just said, "That's a question you're going to have to ask him when he gets here." I think the fact that he partied when he knew he wasn't supposed to shows his commitment to the team. I don't think that there's really much of a question about it now. He also posted on his Instagram story this grimace face emoji, which to me kind of says, like, oops, what are you going to do? Like, I don't think he cares that much. I think it shows that he's perfectly content with everything that happened over the weekend. We've heard that he is trying to force a trade to happen, but the Rockets haven't been ready to let him go yet. So I have to ask you, Jackie, do you feel that it's blatant disrespect for him to be missing a practice so that he could party, especially so close to the start of the season?
I actually think even if James Harden was happy in Houston, this still would have been a thing. I don't think that he is the guy that would put his team first. And because I think at this point, if he was the guy that would put his team first, he would have been able to make it work with Chris Paul. He would have been able to make it work with Russell Westbrook, you know what I mean? Or he would at least be able to suck it up and say, yeah, I want to trade, but I'm a professional. If this is the team that I end up being stuck on, I need to make the best of it instead of, doing whatever he's doing right now. So I honestly think that either way, even if he had said, yes, I'm going to stay in Houston, he would still be out there partying because this man puts strippers above everything. Like it goes strippers, then basketball. Just so we're clear, this is not basketball is not first with him. And then, the party in Vegas, I think to me, it's just, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, that's your friend. You guys clearly have money. If you're going to gift your friend $100,000, you can send that to him. You can overnight him that bag. Obviously, both of those things are more important to him than the basketball team that he plays with. And I think that would be no matter where. I think James Harden could be with the Nets right now. I honestly think he might not have gone to the strip club because, Houston strip clubs are open. He has his favorite. I'm sure he has his favorite stripper and all that. But he still would have went to Vegas. I am positive that he still would have went to Vegas because I think that is who James Harden is.
So you don't feel that he decided to do all of these things knowing that would prevent him from showing up to practice because he saw how it worked with Russell? You think that this isn't him trying to continue to force that trade to happen?
I think that, yeah, he definitely he doesn't want to be in Houston. Absolutely. I think that he doesn't care. But I also think that James Harden is very much concerned about James Harden. And I think no matter where he goes, that James Harden comes first. And I think that he still would have went to that party in Vegas, even if he got the trade to Brooklyn like he wanted. I still think he would have been in Vegas because I think he's a very selfish individual. And to him, that's his friend. I don't want to miss my friend's birthday party. He wouldn't have cared either way, and he would have been. Maybe if he really was happy, maybe he wears a mask in that situation, but I still think he goes. Yeah. He should have worn a mask. I don't care if he doesn't believe in it. Like, he's in the he's in the public eye, so he kind of needs to be able to follow those rules. Another thing that people were saying is that he just doesn't really care about the Rockets because he knows that they need him more than he needs them. Do you agree with that notion? Definitely. I mean, he obviously doesn't care, and that's probably true. He's probably thinking that. He's probably thinking, what are they going to do? He's probably thinking he can do whatever he wants to do, and they're still going to try to make things work with him because they really do need him. But I think even if he thinks that still is a lack of professionalism because I think all of us have been in a situation where maybe we don't like our job or whatever, but we still show up every day. We might not go above and beyond, but we still show up and do what we're supposed to do. And I think that, again, they have literally over time, they have given him everything he wanted as far as players. They've done this at least 2 times that we can document and say for sure. I agree that is not the organization where he is going to succeed, but nonetheless, they've done what you wanted. They've done what they were supposed to do. So now you need to do what you're supposed to do because they actually have the upper hand. They don't have to trade you. So you can be mad and pissed off, but now you're just going to be mad and pissed off for no reason. And now you're really doing a detriment to yourself, to your possibility of actually going to a playoff. So he needs to get his whole mind right. First step, stay out strip club.
Yeah. And that's an easy step, at least for most people. I know for James Harden, it might take a detox period or something, but yeah, that's true. And, the thing that I thought about with this is that, regardless of how James feels about the Rockets, if he wants to go to the Nets, regardless of all of that, this is just disrespectful to his teammates who did take the time to follow the COVID-19 protocols and show up to practice. And I think that alone is going to set them up to have, this sort of tension throughout the remainder of the season. There's no guarantee that James Harden is going to get the trade that he wants. And by going out and partying and showing his team that he cares more about Lil Baby and gifting him this insane gift and strippers, it just shows that he's not really in it for the team mentality, the team goal. So I don't know. I sort of feel like this was just a bad move, a bad look, and I don't think it inspires fans to respect him anymore. And I think that's what he kind of needs right now. He needs people to be on his team.
I mean, he definitely needs GMs and head coaches to be on his team. And the thing is when you have two people in a room, there's always a potential for conflict. So it might not be rainbows and sunshine no matter where he goes. If he wants to end up with the net, I don't think he's going to end up with the Nets. I personally don't, because I think if it was me, now granted, I'm not the GM in Brooklyn, but if it was me, I'm seeing the situation with James Harden. And I know, like I said, it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine. And then the second things don't go the way he wants, now he's pouting, he's violating COVID protocol. We can't put him out on the floor anyway, because now he has to quarantine and all. So he's positioning himself to show that he's not a true asset. You know what I mean? Like he's showing himself to be kind of a thorn in your side, somebody who's always going to make things bad. And he's going to pout and act like a child and go out to the club and do whatever he wants because that's what he wants to do, because you didn't act the exact way that he wanted you to act. And I think it's unprofessional. And I think that he's shooting himself in the foot, because I would never sign somebody that I couldn't trust to tough it out when things got difficult. You know, I just wouldn't.
Exactly. No, I feel the exact same way. And just to elaborate on your point even more, what's going on in Brooklyn with KD and with Kyrie is already a big experiment with Kyrie's big ego and his unwillingness to share the spotlight. So throwing in James Harden, who behaves like this when he doesn't get things, going his way, it's just like, seems like it's pouring, pouring fuel in the fire. Like it's just going to end up making even crazier if he does end up in Brooklyn. So I don't know. I'm with you 100%. I feel like this was just a bad look overall for James, and I feel sorry for his teammates who did show up and who did show that they're taking it seriously, because regardless of how he feels about the team, this is his job, and he's made a commitment to the Rockets, and he needs to take it seriously until he's able to get where he wants to go. So, and
let's not forget, he's the one who said that he would prefer to play with John Wall. That's what he said. Right. Now John Wall is there, and you in the strip club. You look like an idiot, James Harden, just so you know.
Yeah. He really does. He really does. Okay, let's move on to Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving wanted absolutely nothing to do with the media on Friday. He actually issued a statement saying that he would rather let his actions speak for themselves. His actions speak for themselves this season. He said that he wanted to make sure that all of his quotes and his messages are conveyed properly. He doesn't want any sort of misunderstandings happening in the media or in interviews. In his statement, he talked about a number of topics, including COVID-19. I have it up right here, but it's just too long. I didn't want to read it. But he talks about COVID-19, his expectations for the Nets. And he said that he decided to issue this statement and not talk, and made the decision to not talk to the media because things have been so different in 2020. He felt like this kind of inspired a change in him. It said, quote, "Life hit differently this year, and it requires me to move differently, so this is the beginning of that change." He doesn't definitively say that he's never going to speak to the media throughout the entire season, but it's obvious that he's really trying to avoid it. If that's the case, I think that a lot of fans would be disappointed because they would like to hear his perspective. They would like to know what he thinks about different games. And he also could get fines from the NBA if he chooses to just never speak to the media. I understand that he doesn't want to be misquoted. We've seen how Kyrie's headlines, the headlines about Kyrie can be really, really negative. So I get why he would want to just avoid that altogether. But I also think that it seems like a convenient way to not answer difficult questions. Like I mentioned in that first story about James Harden, this is kind of an experiment in Brooklyn. If it goes well, it's going to go really well. But if it doesn't go well, it's going to be bad, I think. And if the team does underperform or if they don't live up to expectations, he just wouldn't comment on those struggles. Those questions can be extremely uncomfortable, but I feel like they are part of his job. I can see both sides of this here. But Jackie, I want to just hear your initial reaction to this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more.
This one's difficult because I think that if it was anyone else besides Kyrie that said this, we probably would be like, oh, okay, it is kind of a weird time, and he's taking this kind of weird approach to this situation, but fine. But Kyrie breeds drama wherever he goes, whether it's intentional or it's not. Again, y'all know that I'm a LeBron fan. I go where he goes, and I will never forget when Kyrie sat on the sideline and didn't talk to his teammates for several games. This is a man that will pout. He'll act a complete fool, have a fit. He'll do all that. You know, when LeBron came back to Cleveland, he wasn't the friendliest of people because he wanted to be the guy. He didn't want LeBron to be the guy. So again, if it was anybody else, I would probably say, okay, you know what? I probably wouldn't have done that, especially since he's not putting himself in any sort of COVID danger by speaking to the media. I think in this specific instance, you're kind of putting yourself in danger to be people to say exactly what I'm saying. Like, oh, here we go again with Kyrie doing what Kyrie does because now he's avoiding the media and blah, 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 blah. So when you don't talk to the media, you give us an opportunity to just assume instead of you actually answering questions. And it's not like this is media day one. You know what I mean? So it's not like you're going to get asked crazy questions. People are going to ask you about James Harden. Is he possibly coming to the Nets? People are going to ask you, how is your relationship with KD? Because I think I've said it time and time again, that I think that's going to implode. They should be able to work really well together. But again, there's moments like this that show you maybe Kyrie is still got some weird things going on in his head and it might not work. So like I said, if it was anybody else, I would probably say, okay, I wouldn't have done that, but I get it. But with Kyrie, I think he has to take more of a responsibility to set a different tone about who he is. And I think he failed with this one.
Yeah, and it's weird because I can see where he's coming from. Like, I can see that he'd be like, you know what, I'm going to avoid the drama altogether. People say I breed drama, just like you said, Jackie, so I'm just not going to say anything. But people are still going to assume. We're still going to hear the reports from insiders, from anonymous sources close to the team. And instead of just hearing things straight from the horse's mouth, everything's going to get blown up and twisted and changed in order to fit a specific narrative. So I don't know that he's really doing himself any favors here. One person, Mamba Machine in the chat, said Kyrie is his own person, but he complains too much. He feels like he is entitled to everything in the league, so maybe kind of making this drastic decision to no longer speak to the media is part of that. I'm not sure. Do you also feel, you kind of touched on this, but let's elaborate it a little bit more. Do you think that this is his way of sort of like deferring accountability if the team doesn't live up to expectations?
No, because the thing is if the team doesn't, he can't do this forever. He can't avoid the media forever. You know what I mean? And if this team starts to falter, there's going to be some hard questions that he's going to ask. And if he wants to take this hide my head in the sand kind of way out, it's not going to work, because now you're going to have to do this via social media, you know, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. You're going to have to answer these questions. I think what he's doing, honestly, is the opposite of what people think. I don't think he's deferring from anything. I think he actually wants his name on everyone's lips. And I think he knew by doing this, all of a sudden people are going to be asking, why did he do this? Is this a new Kyrie? Is he right in doing this? Is he wrong in doing this? He wanted to make sure when he woke up, he saw his name on every single headline, Sports Center, Undisputed, all that are going to be talking about him, because I think he needs that moment in the limelight. And I think that's who he is, because there's no way he thought that people were going to just be like, oh, you're right, Kyrie, good job. He knew that wasn't going to happen. That's the one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands. Don't sleep on that. Kyrie is a very, very intelligent individual. He's very calculated in what he does, including that pouting on the sideline. When he pouted on the sideline that time, he wanted everybody to know, hey, prepare yourself, because I'm out. He knows exactly what he's doing. So let's not underestimate that there was a very specific motive behind it. I don't know if I'm right in the motive, but there was definitely a specific motive behind him doing this.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And then also just to speak about this in a more general light, do you feel that it is part of an athlete's job to speak to the media, or is he in his right to choose not to?
Okay, so that's a loaded question, because technically in situations like this, yes, I think it's your job to speak to the media, because it's not like we're not in the middle of the season, stuff like that. So yeah, it's your job. It's kind of like when these celebrities have a movie coming out, it's the press circuit. It's your job to kind of bring that attention to your team, to the league, things of that nature. On the flip side, I hate that athletes have to talk to media after a game. I hate that that's part of a job, because I've told y'all I was a horrible loser. I'm a sore loser. I ain't got nothing to say to nobody if my butt just got handed to me. I don't want to have to answer your dumb questions and then 5 reporters ask me the same questions in different ways and I'm still, no. I don't feel like they should be obligated to talk to reporters if they are upset after suffering a huge loss. But I know that they are obligated to do that, so I get that. But I don't think they should have to do that. But in this one, when everybody is on an even playing field right now. Nobody's won a game. You have nothing to lose by talking to the media right now. So yeah, I think he should willingly want to talk to the media right now.
Yeah, I see that for sure. And, I always like hearing the post-game interviews from people. You can tell that a lot of the time these athletes want to be anywhere in the world but right there. So I don't think that they really like it either, but it has become so part of the job, I think. I do feel that to just say, nah, I'm not going to speak to them, it's kind of doing a disservice to the fans, to the team. People are curious to hear what's going on. Mamba Machine
I like this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I like this from Nerd Soul, because he's actually right. He says, no, athletes don't owe the media anything, but they need to realize that it's a critical relationship. And that's so true, because I've said this time and time again, one of the reasons why James Harden didn't get that MVP when he should have got it, there's absolutely no he didn't have a good relationship with media. You know what I mean? And we've seen that a lot when we're talking about the voting, how that media votes for it. A lot of time they vote for the person who likes them, the person who gives them the interview that they want, the person who stays a little late, answer questions, things of that nature. That if you want to get those accolades, your relationship with the media is very important. So you sending out this statement isn't helping your cause if you want people to see you as this big person that's so vital. Like you need the media to help cultivate that relationship for you. And if you're just going to bow out, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. Mamba Machine says Kyrie doesn't have to be so extreme. He's either Mr. Drama or I don't talk to anyone no matter what. I do see that for
that's
sure.
True. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do like Nerd Soul comment too that you just brought up. Do you think that you can understand this perspective from Kyrie more than other athletes simply because he has been the subject of so many kind of unflattering headlines? People, talking about how he thinks the earth is flat or claiming that he has bipolar disorder or whatever. He's really been the subject of a lot of negative reports. So do you understand it or empathize with him a little bit more since he has had that experience with the media?
No, he the one got out here and said the earth was flat. He's the one that sat on the side. It's not like the media is talking about the bipolar thing. Probably would have bothered me because I do not think that Kyrie is bipolar. I think he's eccentric. It's funny because my dad used to always say, when you have money, you're eccentric. When you're broke, you're crazy. So if he was broke, he would just be crazy. But he's a little different, but I don't think he's bipolar in any stretch of the imagination. But no, everything the media talks about is because he's giving them something to talk about. Own up to it. If you want them to say something different, be different. It really is a simple solution.
Yeah, I think a better solution for him, instead of avoiding the media altogether, would be to go into some media training lessons, learn how to answer questions in a very neutral way so that people can literally not, misinterpret what you're saying. I think that would solve all of his problems. Let's see what other people are saying in the chat here. Cristobal. Oh, well, let's talk about James Harden a little bit. He says, if the Beard joins KD and Kyrie in Brooklyn, he will be the one with no ring. If these three do get together, do you think that they're going to be winning a ring, Jackie?
I don't know. Y'all keep asking that in the chat every time we talk about this, and I keep telling y'all the same thing. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to work together. I don't know. We clearly are seeing a moment in time where Kyrie is letting us see his ego. Last week we saw a moment in time where KD told a flat out lie, and James Harden is in the strip club. I don't know how these three men are going to work together. I have no idea.
I hate to be, normally I'm like the optimistic one on the panel. I'm the one that's always thinking like, oh, things are going to turn out great. But in this situation, I do not feel confident that these guys are going to be able to work together and be like this unified team. I just don't see it happening. I think there's going to be a lot of friction and a lot of tension. That is if James even gets out of Houston and moves over to the Nets. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But you guys, for now, Kyrie is not speaking to the media. James Harden's partying with strippers. Things feel right in the world. Now, Jackie, can you take us into the post-up?
Yes, let's get into this post-up. Y'all tripping in the chat edition because I see y'all saying that Kyrie is better than LeBron. Y'all need to stop. I don't know what y'all ate this morning, but get it out of your system. Flush it out because it's bothering your mentals. All right, so let's get into this first one. So last week, I think you guys might have seen it. Maybe you didn't, but last week, Clippers star, you guys know we talk about him all the time, Paul George, said that he wanted to retire as a member of the Clippers. He said that's definitely what he wanted to do. If you guys have been following for Paul George for any length of time, you kind of might have went like, wait, what? But if you didn't, no worries. Dame Dollar got you covered because he went out and made sure that everybody knew what happened here. And he said Al Capone. Now, if you're like me, and your first thought was like, what the hell does an American gangster have to do with him saying he wants to retire a Clipper? Then you just watched too many gangster movies. Al Capone does not mean that. It basically means all lies, or all caps, so which means all lies. And so he was saying Paul George is actually lying. And that, my friends, is a factual statement because Paul George has said this with every single team he has been with. He said, my goal is to win one here. I never want to leave. He said that before requesting a trade from the Pacers. I'm here to stay. We can bring this one home. He said that before he left OKC. I think that one was a trade, though, so that one might not count. And now he's saying he wants to retire a Clipper, even though he failed to show up in the fourth quarter. He didn't even make an appearance before they got beat by Denver. So I don't know. I think this one is it's not real. I think this is something he's supposed to say. But then somebody got real petty and decided to bring up something that I just didn't think was necessary, because apparently Paul George clapped back with respect that too. In my stint with my first team, I had more success, Dame time running out. And Clippers Talk tagged Dame in it and said, this comment still sting, huh, bruh? And then Dame, of course, was like, no, that actually never stung, is what he responded to that. Like, no, never stung at all, never did. I don't even know why you would think that would. It's like you've never known Dame a day in your life. But I also think I have one more tweet in here. I think this user has the best point, because I think, how are we judging success in this situation, even if we're going to take Paul George's last comment seriously, which I'm not. But he says, my thing is, how are we, I think he means judging more success. Do you win a chip or not? PG ultimately got to a conference finals where he lost to the eventual champs, same as Dame. So what was he even really saying? Right. Like, what is your success that you're talking about? Because basically y'all sitting in the exact same boat. So I don't know what success he's talking about. Devin, what do you think? Do you think that this is just kind of par for the course? Because some people do have those rehearsed lines. We just talked about how people deal with media. Is this a rehearsed line for Paul George? Something that he just always says to the media because he knows every team wants to hear that? Because he says it everywhere.
Yeah, he does say it everywhere. I think that this is something, Paul George thinks that this is what teams want to hear, but now that it's happened so many times, we don't believe him anymore. It's lost all of its meaning. I don't think this is the proper media training that he should be doing. I think that perhaps when he was, with OKC, with Indy, maybe he really did think that he was going to stay there forever, but I don't know. Ultimately, if he does feel that way, he's entitled to change his mind. He's entitled to make his own plans, go pursue a different path, but he needs to keep this to himself because nobody believes him anymore. I don't believe that he wants to retire as a Clipper. I don't think that that's going to happen. So I don't know. It's like, what's the point in saying it anymore? Nobody's feeling good about it. People are just thinking that you're lying.
Right. It's like you're crying wolf. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I agree with that. I don't know where Paul George will retire. I don't even think Paul George knows where he'll retire. I don't even think he has a preference of where he'll retire. He's just like, wherever I retire, that's fine with me. All right, let's move on to this one, because this one's pretty interesting. So DeMar DeRozan's house was broken into. Well, not broken into. He had an intruder last month in November. We didn't hear about it because I don't think DeMar was even remotely fazed by this at all. Apparently, this guy just kind of walked into his home here in LA. And he went over to where his kids were. So he heard some kind of noise where his kids were, went over there and saw the guy, ended up chasing him out. The guy would have escaped scot-free had he not been dumb enough to come back. And then he came up to the community gate where the security guy saw him, and then he called the cops, and then ultimately he was arrested. But Evan Klowski actually talked to him about this. He found out about this intruder coming into DeMar DeRozan's house. And DeMar DeRozan's answer is hilarious. Evan Klowski, he tweeted about it, and he said, okay, I just basically asked DeMar DeRozan, you know, how he and his family are doing after intruder a few weeks ago. And he said something along the lines of, I grew up in Compton. We good. So, like, one line, I'm done. Do y'all know where I'm from? I thought this was spot on for DeMar DeRozan. If y'all know anything about him. Devin, once again, is that surprising to you that he responded in this way?
I'm not surprised at all, but I would not have that attitude. I don't care how I grew up. I would be scared no matter what. Someone's walking into my home? Absolutely not. But hey, I'm able to take it in stride. Good for him, I guess.
Yeah. There, you know, when I drove into my building this morning, there was a guy literally trying to break into the car next to me, and I was terrified. I'm like, do I get out of my car? Do I stay in the car? Like, what do I do? And I don't want him to see me. If he does see me already, like, well, I was just like paralyzed with fear. And then when I get out, he was like, oh, I like your earrings. What? People are insane in this world. I don't know what's happening. That's all. I don't know what's happening.
What a weird story. I can't believe that.
So yes, that's what I'm saying. So I didn't grow up in Compton, so I was scared. I was not good. So shout out to DeMar DeRozan for being good. All right. So I'm a little bummed that Britt's not here because I wanted to get her take on this, but you guys in the chat, let me know what you think about this, because Kawhi is out here being very, very, very Kawhi. Because we just talked about Kyrie not really wanting to talk to the media, but Kawhi let the media know that he wanted to talk to them by just one little line, by saying, what's up with it? One of the reporters actually tweeted that, and that's what he said. Just, what's up with it? That's how he let the media know that it's very Kawhi. Like, it's just so dry, so nothing to pull from. He finally did give some reporters a little bit more, and Sports Center tweeted about that. He says, I'm motivated. It does leave a bad taste in your mouth blowing a 3-1 lead, but I love it. These are the things I like, the challenge. Here's the thing. Just like we said with Paul George, though, what else is he going to say? You know what I mean? Like, what is he going to say? He can't say, oh, I'm not going to rise to the challenge. What else is he going to say? So I'm not giving Kawhi any credit for that one. So I'm glad that he actually expounded on something, though, and didn't just leave them with what's good with it. So, okay, you know Kawhi, we hear you. Mm-hmm.
I want to start every show now. Instead of doing my animated big energy intro, I'm just going to come on and say, what's up with it?
Right. That's it. And people are going to be like, what channel am I on? And am I on the Fumble? They're going to be so confused.
I love that. But speaking of that bad taste in his mouth that Kawhi was saying, just a thought that I had. I mean, we've obviously heard all of these rumors about how the team is frustrated with him because he lives in San Diego and he's late to practices. Do you think that bad taste is strong enough for him to actually, like, really commit to the team, show up on time, maybe even move to LA so he's closer to where they practice?
I can tell you for sure he's not going to move to LA. Like, I'm not a Kawhi fan, so I'm speaking, on what I know of Kawhi. He's definitely not going to move to LA. He's from San Diego. I know he's got a bunch of family down there. So no, he's definitely not going to move to LA, but he needs to go out of his way. Like, if it takes 2 hours to get to LA from San Diego, he needs to leave 3 hours ahead of time. But he needs to make sure that his teammates know that he is invested on, because like I said last week, time is money. And if we're sitting around here waiting on you, you're wasting our time, which is wasting our money. So he definitely needs to do better. But if he doesn't, then they're going to have the same outcome, because people are not checking for him doing that. People feel like, Paul George feels like he's a star in his own right. He doesn't feel like he should be waiting around for Kawhi. So I think it's going to be a problem. So he better get it together. He get up early, leave early. So that's all.
I'm from San Diego, so I know how that drive, it says, Waze says it's going to take 2 hours, and then 4 hours later, you're still not even in Long Beach yet. So yeah, it does take a lot of planning and commitment, but, we'll see. Anyway, I'll let you move on.
All right, so this next one is fun, because at first glance, I agreed 100% with the caption that Buckets posted on this one. They have this picture of Brandon Ingram. Take it in, you guys. Just look at him. Take that all in, because that is hilarious to me.
Oh,
and then they tagged it and they go, Brandon Ingram heard about the NBA not testing for marijuana this season and wasted no time. I love this caption because that's what that face says. But you guys know I started scrolling through because that's what I always do. And I'm scrolling through Twitter. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I might be wrong because he was a Laker. I do remember him looking like this a lot. And that's what this Twitter user said. He's like, I know it's a joke, but come on, man. You ain't right. You ain't got to do him like that. That's just his natural face. That's so true. Brandon Ingram does have a naturally resting high face. That's how his face looks a lot of the time. And then another user said the same thing. He's like, he's always looked like that. Y'all reaching. I forgot. Twitter's right. I forgot that Brandon has a resting high face, but he does. He probably, because I remember a while back he said he never does that. So I'm sorry for laughing at this, Brandon, but you definitely looked high as hell in that picture. There's just absolutely no way around that.
He looks like he's more high looking than usual in that picture.
Right.
I mean, yes, he did have kind of that like sleepy looking face, but that picture was like, he definitely looked like he just hit a big blunt.
Yep, and just woke up like, where am I? Like his face did not. So I'm not mad for the post, but I get it. He does have that resting high face. So I'm just gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because he said that's not what he does. So, you know, get some more rest, Brandon. That's all I'm going to say. But this next one is going to be fun to chat about. I definitely want to hear what you guys say in the chat because we've been talking about this a lot, that Zion Williamson is his own worst enemy. If he doesn't take his weight seriously, then he can just expect whatever from injuries to being benched because he's moving slow and he's lethargic, things of that nature. But from this picture, it looks like he's listening. It looks like he's taking heed. And he's getting a little cut. He's lost some weight. He's got some muscles going on. Cause you know, look at that. Like he's back to that dude. Yeah, it looks like he's taking his weight seriously. I'm excited for this picture. But let's talk about this next post from this Twitter user because he also has a point that I also forgot that says, man, y'all say this every 2 months, then he gets on the court looking like the clumps. That's funny, but it's also true because we saw him do that slim down and then he blowed up. So he's slimming down again. So that's why I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Do you think he's actually going to take this seriously this time? Is this like his up and down? Is he just going to say down or is he going to blow back up? Devin, what do you think?
I think that I think he's staying like this. I think that last season was a good kick in the ass for him. And I think that he realizes that he is still so early on in his career. And if he doesn't take this seriously, he's not going to last a long time. And he's not going to have the, exciting, illustrious career that we all expected him to when he was at Duke. So I think that Zion's taking it seriously. I don't know. I've personally never doubted it. I thought that he would, watch what he's eating and work out. I didn't think that he was ever going to like fall back into sort of unhealthy patterns. So I'm excited for this. I think it'll last. I think it's going to stick.
I mean, I hope so. I've never had a lot of confidence in Zion, especially being down in New Orleans where the food is literally life. So it's difficult, I think, with somebody who clearly likes to eat to maintain that weight. It's going to take an enormous amount of discipline. But you guys also know I love Zion, so I definitely want him to succeed. So regardless of if I think he's going to do it or not, I'm rooting for you, I'm pulling for you, and I definitely want you to maintain this weight because I think it'll be definitely beneficial to not only the Pelicans, but to you and your career. So stay off the food. Brandon's not smoking weed. You're not going to be eating crazy. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for you guys. All right. So now it's king time. It's my favorite time. We're going to just dwell in the kingdom for a bit because y'all know that I love to dwell here. So first and foremost, before I get into this little post that I know a lot of you guys are here to see, let me just say, because I could not have said this better than Terry Kame, who said, "Congratulations to my brother King James for making history once more as the first athlete to be named Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year 3 times. He was named in 2012, 2016, and right now again in 2020. Round of applause for King James. Well deserved. I love to see that man succeed in everything he does. It's a beautiful thing that he can make this history once again. So let me just say that before I get to this next one. And let me say this. I have officially figured out that every athlete needs a really fast car. Because if I would have been on the 405 during this moment in time, I would have tried to follow LeBron just to see where he lives, just so I can hang out. And, I'm not going to stalk him. I'm just going to hang out and every morning be like, "Morning, King," because that's what I would do. I'm not even lying. But he has a really fast car. My little Honda definitely would not be able to keep up. And you can see that when he takes off. But look at him on the 405. Some fans got a glimpse of him. Check it out. And he's out.
I want that to happen to me. I want to see him on the freeway.
I would probably crash. I would have to stay focused, but definitely I would have lost it. But I'm glad he has a fast car, because again, I would have been like, "Oh my God, there's LeBron." I would have probably not waved to him because I wouldn't have wanted him to see me. I'm just like, I'm just gonna just follow behind him.
You want to be able to creepily, stealthily stalk. That's what you want to do. Don't act like a fan, so when you follow him home, he doesn't suspect anything.
Exactly. I want to play like I've never seen him before in my life. He looks my way. I want to just be like, "Do, do, 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 do," so then he doesn't think I'm following. That's what I would have done. But I'm still glad that these fans got this moment for us, because, anytime I see LeBron, it's a good time. I love it. Okay, so then this next one always pulls at the heartstring. We've seen him time and time again. People do this for their family members, their mother, their father, whatever. They always try to pay it forward to their loved ones, these athletes, once they kind of make it. And Bam has done that for his mom. He has bought her a house. So he posted these pictures. Look, he's smiling so hard. It's so beautiful. But he bought her a new house and she's checking it out. It's so, so sweet. He posted his thoughts on buying his mom a new house on his Instagram, and he said, "Screaming happy birthday to my whole world. You deserve this and much more. You can officially say this my shit. Mama got a crib." I love that so, so much. It was so beautiful. And I think we all would love to do that for our family one day, just be able to pay it forward for all that they've done for us. But there's haters in the world, and ESPN posted this as well. They said Bam bought his mom a new house, gave him a clap. I love this. And then here comes the hater. This person says, "He's worth how much? Why is this news?" And before, I was actually trying to type when I saw this, but before I could even finish typing, this Twitter user had my back and said, "ESPN talks about sports, and I think Bam plays in the NBA and did a beautiful thing for his mom. Stop hating, bruh," with the "why so salty" emoji. So, blessed Hawaii, you are my new friend, because I couldn't even type fast enough. You already had that one taken care of, and I appreciate you so much. All right,
that's so cute.
I would love to be able to do that for my mom. Really, I would. She already has a house, so she'd probably look at me crazy, like I'm not moving, because that's how my mom is. She'd be like, "I'm not moving. I hate moving." But I would still love to do something big and drastic for her. So shouts out to Bam for being able to do that for his mom. So this is the one that I was talking about at the top of the show. There's 2 things about the Denver Chiefs game last night that had me a little concerned. I'm going to get to the funny one second, but I want you to take a look at this first moment during the game, because we've seen players time and time again, they'll scream and yell at the ref, tell their coach to challenge that they got a reception, knowing good and damn well they didn't get that reception and the ball hit the ground, but they'll protest enough to the point where the refs will review it because the coach has thrown the challenge flag. Now look at this. Look at this play where Tyreek clearly catches the ball but doesn't protest at all.
Made the catch. Here it is again. He's out in front. He juggles it. He goes to the ground and hits him in the helmet. It never hits the ground. and the Chiefs could have challenged it, and it would have been a touchdown.
It went off of 2 helmets and 2 shoulder pads and never touched the ground. And
it was literally a catch.
Here before the ball got.
And he said nothing. He said nothing. They literally could have gotten this touchdown and put 6 on the board. He went to the sideline like he didn't say anything. He was like, oh, I didn't catch that. That's fine. And I'm just like, okay, I've literally seen him protest on things that weren't necessarily a catch. Now look at this next one, because this next one actually got called back. This is an actual touchdown. It actually doesn't count, but he's still going to show the disrespect on this not so real touchdown. Take a look at this one.
Makes the catch, and he goes eventually for the touchdown, but he does the little backflip.
Oh my God.
So this is why I have an issue. Like, you have that one moment in time that was a touchdown and you say nothing. This one wasn't a touchdown and it was called back, and you doing backflips into the end zone. What's happening here, Tyreek? I need you to figure out what you're doing with your life. And am I just overreacting?
Right. No, it's weird. What like reality? Is this a different dimension? I don't understand.
I have no idea. I'm like, my guy, you could have gotten 6 on the board for that one. But Chiefs won, so it doesn't matter. But all I'm saying, my guy, if you're going to be extra on the call that can actually get your team some points. Just saying. Okay, so you guys remember that Dak Prescott suffered a compound fracture and he dislocated his right ankle on October 11th. That was a terrible, terrible day. I actually text Britt on that day asking her if she was okay, because it was just not fun to watch. But the good news to Cowboy fans or fans of Dak Prescott is he is ahead of schedule on his recovery. I love this because Zeke's out here making fun of the way he walks, and he took a moment to show him like, nah, bruh, I walk just fine. I'm sure Cowboy fans are excited. Look at his face. And Zeke is like, oh, okay.
He does walk funny.
He was, because he was using the crutch at first, and then he just stopped. Why'd you even bring the crutch, my guy? Like, why'd you even bring it? Like,
clearly doesn't need it.
He doesn't. But I'm glad, because like I said with the Odell thing, I thought he was out there a little too soon. So I am glad that he has that crutch, because baby it as long as you can. Make sure you get that rest. Make sure you do what you're supposed to do, because the last thing we want to do is see you moving ahead too fast and then you re-injure it. But shouts out to Dak. I'm really glad to see that he's doing okay, because that was a terrible injury. And no matter if you're a Cowboy fan or not, he's just a likable guy. So this last one, this is like would be me as a parent. And I'm not saying that this is a good thing. Let me just throw that out there now. But we always talk about no participation trophies, and we all want kids to learn those hard lessons, especially when it comes to sports. Never give them the easy way out, because then they're going to be whining and maybe not wanting to talk to media, when they grow up. But this might be a little too early, in my opinion, to be teaching these lessons. But I'm going to let you guys see this video, and then you guys tell me what you think.
Denied by OKC tonight. Oh, killer step back. Oh, what a play!
And then waves the baby off. You broke the baby's ankles and then wave the baby off.
Oh God, that makes me so sad. Oh, that poor baby.
But this would be literally me as a parent. Like, take that son. Why? Why are people like this? Why am I like this? This is so unnecessary.
It really is, that poor baby. Gonna learn a good lesson.
Yeah, the baby's not even gonna remember that lesson, but damn it, daddy's gonna teach it right now anyway. Oh, poor baby. I love it. Thank you guys so much for tormenting your children like this and posting it on social media for me. I appreciate you. If no one else appreciates you, I appreciate you. Okay, that's all I got for the post up. Because now it's time that we have a serious conversation, people, because I need answers. I need you guys in the chat. Devin, I'm going to need you as well. You guys are going to have to help me find some answers to this one, because this one, low-key, kind of pisses me off. I'm not even going to lie. It pisses me off. All right, let's talk about Floyd Money Mayweather. I've seen you guys in the chat talking about this already. For those of you who don't know, let me enlighten you a little bit. Okay, so Floyd Money is dope as hell. I know I don't really like him as a person, but as a fighter, he is amazing at what he does. He won the Golden Globes and an Olympic bronze medal before he even went pro. He's just dope when it comes to fighting. I think he's probably the best fighter of this era. I'm not even going to dispute that. I don't think anybody should dispute that. Like I said, he's won 3 national Golden Globes or Golden Gloves. He had to move up in weight class 4 times. He won the WC lightweight title in 2002, the WBC super lightweight title in 2005, and the IBF, IBO, WBC, and IBA welterweight titles in 2006 and 2007. And then he defeated, which is probably the fight where I really got to know him, was when he defeated Oscar De La Hoya for the WBC super welterweight. And then in 2010, he became the 3rd highest paid athlete with an income of more than $60 million per year. That was in 2010. And then in 2017, he made $280 million to fight Conor McGregor. Do y'all remember that? To fight Conor McGregor. He's got 50 wins, 0 losses, including Conor McGregor, which a lot of us were concerned about because Conor McGregor has some pretty strong hands, but he made Conor McGregor fight his fight. Conor McGregor got tired, and then Floyd just did his thing. That's the thing about Floyd. He makes you fight his fight. He is amazing at what he does. So him being at this level in his career, being, dare I say, the GOAT at what he does, why in the hell would you fight some mid-level celebrity, a YouTube celebrity at that, not even like a big celebrity that everybody knows? I don't understand why he would do this. When this tweet first came across my Twitter feed, I thought it was fake. But it says, Floyd Money Mayweather announces on Instagram that he'll be involved in a boxing exhibition against Logan Paul on February 20th. Seriously, this has been in the works for a while, and yes, it's going to make these guys a lot of money. The lead up is going to drive a lot of people nuts. I'm so confused. Like, he does not have to do this. I personally didn't believe it, so I went to Floyd Money's IG page, and sure as shit, there it was. February 20th is he's doing this fight. Okay, so look, to me, this is very perplexing. It's very confusing. So what we're not going to do is try to make this make sense, because this is Floyd Money. Sometimes outside of the ring, things just don't make sense. He's a little weird. That's why there's memes of him floating around, because we can't really expect this to be logical. Because this is not, technically I would be about this life if it was like for some charity event, you know, like we're giving back to this. We're doing this for cancer awareness, to feed the homeless, you know, to reform the police, anything. If he was doing it for that, then I would co-sign on this. I'd be like, yep, that's dope. Nope, that's not what's happening. This is a full-on money grab and ego trip. This is what Floyd Money tweets, right? So he goes, these YouTube girls better find some Barbie dolls to play with, because I'm not the one for the kids' games. 3 years ago, fighter from the UFC, that would be Conor McGregor, said my name, and I had to put a muzzle on that biznitch. Logan Paul can get the same treatment before I go and conquer Japan. Again. I like that he put the again in there, because he has already conquered Japan. So this to me is the dumbest comment in the world. Floyd doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. People can keep his name all in their mouth. He don't need to check them on that, because his record, his career, his 50 wins and no losses really kind of speak for themselves. He does not have to do this. And here's the funny thing about this. Floyd Money is going to turn 44 on February 24th. So this fight is going to take place 4 days before his 44th birthday. Logan Paul is 25. I don't think that the age matters in this situation. I think that Logan Paul is going to get served up by Floyd Money. I don't think he's going to have that knockout thing that he had the last time. But why though, Floyd Money? Why are you going to be 70 years old calling out 25-year-old kids? What are you doing? What are you doing? See, and this is what we're not going to do. We're not going to do what I'm doing right now and try to make this make sense. This is just the dumbest thing in the world. Devin, what do you think about Floyd Money gearing up to fight this man, this YouTube star? It's a YouTube star.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think that these boxing matches that Jake and Logan Paul keep doing are they're silly. Like, I mean, yes, they're entertaining. That one with Nate Robinson, you know, it was fun to watch. But Floyd Mayweather is a serious boxer. Like, this just doesn't make sense to me. And I know what you were saying, I agree 100% with the fact that this is just a money grab, and this is just an opportunity to satisfy egos, you know? Floyd wants to, I mean, Floyd has nothing to prove, actually. He has absolutely nothing to prove, but Logan Paul is delusional enough to think that he can take on a boxer like this. So I think that this is an ego satisfier for Logan Paul, at least up until the moment that he loses, and it's a money grab for Floyd Mayweather. Not that he needs any more money. I think that this would be so much more valuable. Yeah, like it's if he was donating even 50% of the proceeds to a charity, or if it was being sponsored by some cause that needs a lot more attention or marketing, I would be able to enjoy this a little bit more. But just knowing that these two guys are doing it to line their pockets it's just kind of unsettling.
Yeah, I like Mamba Machine. Mamba Machine is coming through with all the facts today. He says, what people don't see is that the Paul brothers are just trying to make as much money as possible. Notice how their names are on the tongues, on everyone's tongues all of a sudden. Don't be fooled, y'all. This is strategic. That's true, because I got to tell you, before that last fight, I had no idea who this man was. No idea. I had to look him up. I think the first time I heard about him was when Devin broke the news that this was actually going to happen for the Tyson fight, that Logan Paul was going to be fighting, and then me, Chris, and Britt tried to leave the whole set because we were like, this is the dumbest thing. It was the dumbest thing in the world then. It's dumber now. Don't even know what to say.
It's way dumber now. And it's so silly that Floyd is even concerning himself with this kind of thing. Like, this is...
Right.
You would think that he'd be so above this, mentally, everything. You'd think that he'd look at this and be like, this is idiotic, you know? Makes no sense.
Now,
I don't understand.
I can see, like, I don't know if you've ever seen an interview with Floyd Money. Mentally, it's definitely not above him. But he says and does some outlandish things. But you made $280 million in 2017. How much are they paying for this one? Because technically, if they're not paying you $280 million, what's the point? Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. But that's all I got for What We Not Gonna Do. Thank you guys in the chat for chiming in. Oh, is that who he is? So Logan is the guy who filmed the dead body? Is that what he got in trouble for? Yeah. I know he got in trouble for something.
In the Japanese suicide forest. Yeah, he filmed a dead body hanging from a tree and posted it like, oh my God, it's a dead body. Just such an idiot.
Yeah. And he's the same guy that was filming when people were breaking into stores and stuff during the protests, right? Is that the same guy?
That was
Or
Jake.
Is that his brother? Okay. All right. So they're basically douchebags either way, is what you're saying.
They're both douchebags. They're both delusional. They have the biggest egos ever. Yeah. I mean, I know why he's doing it. I know why Logan's doing it, because he's actually crazy enough to think that he can take on Floyd Mayweather, but it's ridiculous. Probably will still watch, though, just because it is going to be such a spectacle. But on that note, why don't we wrap up the show, Jackie? Subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share it with your friends, wash your hands, wear a mask, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh.